Oh, it's been a while. It's been way too long, Sam. I guess this is version 3.0 of Chicken Dinner. Welcome in, Joe Ostrowski, Sam Panayotovich with you. Sam, let me start off by apologizing. If you're watching the video format of this show, I still have the Bet Sweats backdrop. You threw it in the trash a couple weeks ago. Nobody said anything. I'm going to have to do the same thing, but I don't want you to see what's behind there right now. But it'll be on the way out. It's been a very hectic day, as you know.
Now my mind is wandering. What's behind the curtain? What's behind the wall? Anything good or just a blank canvas? Is that it?
That's where Jake Hassan sleeps.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
Jake is ready to go. Jake, by the way, wanted to do the show tonight. I had to tame him like a lion. I said, eventually we will weave everybody in. I don't know who's all coming with. I know the audience is coming with, though, because these last 4 days have been so therapeutic to see not only the amount of people that have stuck with us through the end of Bet Sweats, but the people that are sending me screenshots of the reviews they're leaving, unsubscribing from old show, subscribing to new show, all the comments on X. It has been very, very therapeutic to see that people care as much as they do. And, you know, we found out, I had to go back into the calendar and get the exact date. We got an email Tuesday morning, October 21st. Our show, 9 Eastern, Bet Sweats. The email came at like 8:30 a.m. Eastern, and all it said was BetMGM Network / Westwood One update. And I remember going into that meeting like, oh, we're getting picked up because our numbers were up. The ratings were up. The downloads were up. And we went into this meeting, and two of the bosses are in the call, and it's basically, yeah, none of you are coming to Westwood One. And from that day forward, it was be professional, do your job, and you're going to work until basically Christmas. It was not easy, man, as you know.
It wasn't. And I remember that day because we were on the air, and the bosses kept checking with Paul, our executive producer, making sure that we were available and we were going to be on that call, which was almost immediately after our show. And during the breaks, I don't know if that's how you always react to calls. See, because you've been through this before. I have not. I just spent 24 years with the same company. You kept asking me and Paul during the breaks, like, hey, you think it's good? You think it's good news? And I'm like rolling my eyes. What is Sam worried about? This is not a thing. It's just going to be the usual stuff with these corporate meetings. They're probably going to give us some update about expansion. All things are good. We're rolling during football season. All is right with the world. Not even on my mind at all. And then completely blindsided. I knew when we popped on something was up, because the bosses that normally joke around with us, make a funny reference to something that they heard us on the show.
None.
Stern face. I'm like, what is this? Uh-oh. And I was listening to it. It was not comprehending with me at all about what was actually being said. I don't know if it was with you, but you've been through this before and in this similar format, but I was completely blindsided. It took some time before I realized what the hell just happened.
Yeah, you called me shortly after the meeting and said, what the fuck just happened? And I didn't even know. I had no idea. And then as we got closer to the weekend, a release had come out, and they're going to keep this person and that person. And then there was this internal thing where I think people were trying to play both sides with me. You're going to do this. You're going to have a good chance to do this show. We still want you to do the show with Nick on Sunday. And then I'm trying to be transparent with you guys, you know, because I wanted to be very, very honest about what was going on. So if I found something out from the bosses, I went right to my guys, my show, my team. And I said, look, here's what I know. I'm probably going to try out for the night show. To which some people were upset about that. They thought that I was behind all this, and that was obviously never the case. But it's never easy to navigate those waters. And yeah, I went through it. My first radio hosting job was on 87.7 The Game in Chicago. And that was a disaster because we didn't even have like a dial on the FM side. We were 87.7, which you couldn't find in most cars. and the stream was in and out, and it was very thrown together, and it never had a chance to challenge 670 and 1000. But I started hosting on the reg during that 2014 calendar year, February, March, April, May, June, July. And then by the time we got to October, they said, yeah, this isn't working. The station's going away at Christmas. I wasn't making a lot of money. I was a part-time weekend guy, whatever. But then this happened to me December 23 in Essen, where I get an email, come into the station. Oh, the whole betting department is gone. Everything that you built in the last 2 years is gone. Well, 3 years, I guess, at that point. And now here we are, Christmas 25. You get to go home again, family and friends. How's work? Fuck. That's how work is. Because I ain't getting fired again. It ain't happening.
All right, let me put you on the spot. You put our guys on the spot on the show over the last couple of days, and they say they're coming along, and I think they are. And I was surprised that they were 3 for 3. Maybe there was a little bit of pressure by their friends, by their partners, because, oh, Jake said he's going. I can't be the one that says no. Oh, Gertch is going too. We're 2 for 2. Now it's on you, Paul. But he had a list of demands, which was very entertaining on the show the other day. If you got the offer that you were basically told, from my understanding, that you were going to get, if you got that offer to work with Brad Evans 5 hours a night, 5 nights a week, would you be doing that?
It never got there.
Yeah.
5 hours a night is tough, 5 nights a week. And I love my nights and my friends and my ability to go out and watch games and drink. I don't know. Having heard some of the salaries thrown around, and again, it never got to this point, but I have heard some of the offers that Westwood made to people in the morning and some of the people at night, and the offers are a joke at how little money. So I'm going to work more and make substantially less. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to answer that question. I lean no. No would be the favorite, but not minus 500. No, I think it would be no minus 150. I just wanted an offer. I thought I was going to get an offer. I didn't even get an offer. And I see the lineup they put out, and there's a kid in a mink coat who's 24 years old hosting the morning show. And I don't know how that's the move. And I don't want to say I wish them luck, because I don't. I hope it burns, to be perfectly honest. Like I'm not that guy. Oh, well, I wish them the best of luck. Actually, no, I don't. So it's competition now. We want what they're going for, and we have what they're going for. Our old feed is going to go to one of those shows. You know that, right?
Yeah, I was told it was just going to sit idle. I don't believe that for a second. So have you unsubscribed to Bet Sweats? I need to unsubscribe to Bet Sweats. I know a lot of our audience has been doing that. I kind of don't want to know what they do with the feed. And that's where I was strung along. You were strung along with, hey, we're likely going to give you a spot in evenings. And yeah, the pay was low for mornings, it sounds like. So just imagine what it was for evenings, going on until 10 o'clock Eastern. But I was strung along with that podcast feed. I was led to believe, oh, it's a no doubter. Yeah. Oh, Portnoy gives it to the Barstool people that leave as long as they're on good terms. Yeah. And we're seeing that elsewhere where they own the IP and they get the podcast feed. You built this. This is yours. You built it from nothing. This was a brand new network, Joe. It's yours. It's going to be yours. We just got to work on it. 2 months is a long time from now. We'll get there. And then that was pulled away by somebody else in the company. So I know the names. I'm not going to forget those names. Didn't make me very happy, but I've moved on. And it felt like, oh man, all that hard work, at least when we got back together about 15 months ago, that's down the drain. Based on the reaction that we've seen and we've heard and sponsors we're already hearing from, I don't think it's down the drain. I think we have built a strong, loyal audience. And countless amount of times I'm opening my mentions, my messages. People are going to be here to follow, and they want to stick with us through football season. Normally, this is a very tough time to launch a show, but we have a hardcore audience that I believe is going to follow us. And what we're going to build is going to be bigger and better than anything we've done in the past.
And we have total control. Nobody's going to tell us what to do, what to say. it will eventually get to a point where we have new content coming out on YouTube and the podcast feeds 5-6 days a week. That's my plan. I know YouTube wants you to do something new every day. You can work around that. We can drop 5 new pieces of content and then splice parts of said content. There's going to be a lot of stuff going on. What I would tell people now, just make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube. I know we have a loyal audience on Apple and Spotify. The YouTube is really going to be important for us. And I really, by Super Bowl, I want 10,000 subscribers. That's been my biggest regret all these years. I don't have a lot of regrets in my life. You know me a long time. I really don't. The one thing that I'm kicking myself over is that I never built up YouTube. I built up the podcast, and there's hundreds of thousands of downloads, but that doesn't matter in this landscape. It's about video clicks, video views, all that. So if you're a podcast listener, I would highly suggest you listen and click subscribe on YouTube. Bet Chicken Dinner is where you find that. If you're an Apple, Spotify guy, that's fine. But YouTube is going to be very important for us going forward. So please give that a look if you can. And also, you know, we've gotten a lot of messages. People want us to empty the clip. And I had one tweet that said, why don't you drink a bottle of Jameson and air out all the laundry? I really don't want to do that. I just really wanted to talk about what happened, how we felt, why we got through it, and why we're here. You know, we're not going to bag on the new place. I don't really ever want to do it again after today. We're going to make them regret, though, that they didn't pick us. That much is clear, at least on my side of the fence. So if there's anything else you want to add to the whole situation, then we can get into the college football playoff, NFL games. I have a merchandise update. Talking with the designer the other day. You and I had a couple meetings this week. We met with X. I'm going to meet with YouTube next week. And then we have best bets at the end of the show. But I just wanted to be very clear. Like, this is not going to be bitter old guys complaining about the new network. It just had to be said. It's the elephant in the room right now.
There were a lot of people involved, and the big decision makers, as we've talked about on our old show, they don't really know us. They're not connected to us in any way. And it seems obvious to me that where we had most support, those people didn't have the most amount of power in the situation. So I'm okay with that. That's the real world. That's what happens in big business. I'm okay. I'm optimistic about the future. I'm looking forward to us controlling everything as far as the social media, all the content. You know, if there's not 15 hours a week of content in a week, which is something that we had to do with the show no matter what. Oh, it's a dead time in sports. It's the middle of the summer. Doesn't matter. Your show's 3 hours and you're on the air 5 days a week. You've got to do it. And you've also got to do this Sunday football show. And for a time, I had to do a Saturday morning Chicago-based sports betting show too. It's like, if it's not there, we're not going to force it. If the audience isn't asking for it, we're not going to do it. It's going to be more about quality over quantity moving forward. So I'm looking forward to it. Look, as far as what else needs to be said, bashing anybody, that's not going to happen. First off, what positive can come out of it? We do have friends that are remaining at that network. We have friends that are joining that network. So I do wish them luck, but they are competition now. We're going heads up, and we're not going to be promoting any of their stuff. We've done enough of that. I've done enough of that over the last 24 years, promoting Odyssey, CBS Radio, Entercom, whatever. That's over. It's all about us, and I'm looking forward to seeing what we can build, and I feel really strong about it. I don't think there's really anything else to be said about it. We've been upfront and honest. I heard from a lot of people today. Many went out of their way to check out the last segment. They were curious how we were going to go out, and we did it in a classy manner. We were honest with everybody who takes time out of their day to spend with us, listeners, viewers, on social media, whatever, every step of the way. We have basically told you guys everything. I don't know of anything that we've left out at this point, Sam.
No, we haven't. And I thought you were very, very good today. I thought you nailed it because I didn't want to make it about me because in my eyes, that show was you, whether it was Bet Sweats or BetQL Daily or whatever. That's your show, your feed. And I didn't want to be that guy that was like giving this big speech and thanking all these people. I was thankful to our audience and our listeners and our viewers. I thought you did a beautiful job with that. And my dad called me after he had texted us, which was a very strange text to get because I don't think we've ever texted in a triangle before. But I had a text, Joe and I had a text from my dad after we got off the show, and it was nice to see that. And then we talked, and he's like, Joe really did a good job. And I said, yeah, I agree. I think Joe hit all the notes and was very appreciative of the people that didn't want our show. But it was very well said. And I will say this going forward. I think the good thing about this new version of our content is that if you listened, it was a commitment. Every day, 3 hours, endless commercials, right? I mean, 14, 15 minutes, an hour of commercials. If we do this right and hit the sweet spot, these will be 60 to 90-minute shows with a handful of commercials in there. Maybe a read off the top, a spot in the middle, a back sell at the end. Of the 90 minutes that we do, 82 of them will be us talking games, talking shit. And that's what I think people want the most. So it's exciting to think about. And knowing that this is the first step in the right direction makes me excited.
I cut my teeth in this business for a very long time as a producer. And my one issue is, and maybe it's a good thing, maybe it's a bad thing, I'm a bit of a perfectionist. And sometimes when you're on the air, you make a lot of mistakes. If you listen to our show, you're going to see that and you're going to hear that. And it would pain me not to be able to fix that before putting that stuff out. We're doing the editing. I would hear complaints from time to time. Well, how come the commercials are so much louder? I'm like, that's never, ever going to happen with us doing the work. So I'm looking forward to being hands-on as far as that goes. And you appreciating the audience is spot on. One thing about your dad, which did make me crack up when I did see that text, his name is saved as Sam's dad Panayotovich. So it said Sam Panayotovich and Sam's dad Panayotovich. And to see that thread there was very nice. I was happy he was listening. This is going to be a grassroots effort. And again, I don't want to sound like we're begging at all. And we appreciate all the support. Every time we send something out, you guys are retweeting it and you're telling somebody about it. You're trying to spread the word. Without you guys, this is the real. Without you guys, this is not going to work. And we're probably going to have to close up shop. Not a threat or anything. I'm just telling you what's real. Because, we have a certain amount of severance and we're very optimistic about what we're going to be able to build, but we're going to need the likes on every YouTube video. We're going to need the subscriptions on the podcast feed so we can go to sponsors. So I can go to my wife and say, no, we can support our family with this. And the same thing for you and paying for your home and everything that you do in your life. We're going to need the help. There is a hole in this market right now, a massive hole. And when you think about this football season, you're missing one of the most popular and best sports betting podcasts out there in the Simple Handicap with our friend Adam Chernoff. You're missing Bet the Board with Todd Furman and Payne Insider because of issues with sponsorship. And I don't know what else went into that or taking other jobs. I think this show can fill those voids. And while we had a nice platform in the past, now I think the ceiling is endless on what we're going to do with Chicken Dinner.
It's our platform. And if it's our platform, it's for you. And that's all that matters going forward.
Let's get into some sports, man. We've got the college football playoff finally showing up this weekend, and we've got some line movement. Number of games in the NFL. We're going to get to those coming up, the games that we have picks on. But let's start with college and what we're going to see on Friday night. We have a flip of the favorite in this one. It took some time for the market to settle on Alabama, Oklahoma. And what happened is they decided, okay, let's make Alabama the favorite. Yes, they lost in the regular season to Oklahoma, but if you look inside that box score, it was dominated by Bama. You just had the turnovers go the Sooners' way. Well, as we get to a couple days before the game, Sam, favorite flips. Sharp money coming in on Oklahoma. What are your overall thoughts?
I'm not really surprised, and I'm very glad the way that the cookie crumbled in this one. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see the odds logic board that Joe and I use every day. Oklahoma got bet right after Bear Bets went live, which was very exciting because Bear and I both picked Oklahoma. And look, I did it on Bet Sweats too. I gave out Oklahoma +1. On Bear Bets, it was 1.5 because there was a move on Alabama before the big move on the Sooners. Here's what I've heard. Ty Simpson is nowhere near 100%. And that's been sort of the driving force behind this move on 296 Oklahoma. You're looking right now on video. One at Pinnacle, one at Chris, one all over Vegas, and then 1.5 BetMGM, DraftKings, FanDuel. So this was a market Thursday morning where Bama was 1.5, and now Oklahoma is favored. There's a lot to like about the Sooners in this game. You have the Simpson stuff. You have the inability for Bama to run the football. And oh, by the way, Oklahoma's at home. The home team won every playoff game last year. And let's be real. This is not your older brother's Alabama, where Alabama's the only team paying players now. It's a level playing field. Alabama can't run it. Oklahoma's D is solid. And look, we get to bet on your guy, John Mateer. What are we missing?
I was so excited the other day. Those John Mateer tickets went away in my pending bets for the Heisman. Man, that was a rough scene. You're right. Now, the concern on the Sooners side is obviously going to be the offense. We know how great the defense has been. They've been a top 2, top 5 defense all season long. And you have that sample size of them meeting in the regular season. So you get why there was a little bit of Bama love. But then that quarterback information starts to leak out. And then does that make sense? Why that offense for the Tide has been slipping over the last month of the season. And also with Mateer, you said it at the time, and it was a great call. When he was making his return to the field, that was way too early. They've also had extra time to prepare for this game. Alabama was getting prepared for an SEC championship. We know they fared terribly in that game, but Oklahoma had an extra week, and they're at home. And now, ever since his return, Sam, the calendar says 10 weeks. It's been 10 weeks since he returned from that injury. You would think he's as healthy as he's been pre-injury, right? And if you take a look at the second half of the season for Oklahoma, we're getting back to him using his legs. That was a sticking point when he made his return, truly wasn't ready. They didn't want to put him in harm's way. It's kind of like what the Giants are doing right now with Jackson Dart, where, okay, let's chill out on the running a little bit. That was happening early, but now he's using his legs. It's a big weapon. That prop, if you're looking for the rushing yards on Mateer, that's sitting around 34 in the hook. A few of the reasons that we are on the same page with Oklahoma. I know that some people are hesitant because of the offensive issues, but them being at home, extra time to prepare, Mateer fully healthy, I'm okay backing Oklahoma to sweep the season.
There are not many places where you can bet pick. BetOnline has pick -12. There's a lot of 1, though, that you can lay. You can lay some 1 flat, -110. That would be my move. As somebody who told you on multiple shows to bet +1 and 1.5, yes, I still like Oklahoma -1. Let's go to Saturday. I want to start rotationally with James Madison in Oregon because I spoke to a former odds maker and bookmaker in Vegas who loves his anonymity. If you know me, you probably know who I'm talking about, but he gave me a couple quotes on this game, and I wanted to basically just read them to you, the quotes that he told me about an hour ago. I like to talk to him before big shows, and naturally, before the college football playoff, this is the time to do it on our first chicken dinner back together. Here are the 3 quotes. Nobody sharp is laying 21 with Oregon. Oh, okay. Interesting. Oregon needs to be healthy or they're not beating Texas Tech. Think about that too. You're trying to run it up. You're trying to win 38-10 and potentially injure some guys. He said, if I was opening this game, I would have opened 19.5 on Oregon because that's how high I am on James Madison. So hearing those three things, I think fundamentally I understand laying 20.5, which is what you laid. But it doesn't appear like there's this appetite for guys to lay north of 21. And we did see people come into Vegas. They bet the 22s and they bet the 21.5s on James Madison.
Constant buyback. Every time when you got to that 21.5, they were taking the dog and they were knocking that to 20.5. And as the week has progressed, we've seen more and more on James Madison. I think a lot of people expected it to be going the opposite way because that's what you typically see. When you see a heavy favorite in a popular college football game, they're going to be in on the favorite and that number is going to bump up. Nope. 21.5, they knock it back down. And then it was knocked down under 21, as you mentioned. That's the side that I'm at. Maybe I'm putting too much on it. I continue to have that game in my mind. JMU, we're waiting for them to handle Troy in the Sun Belt Championship game, and it's 17-14 entering the fourth quarter. That left a bit of a sour taste in my mouth. Now, if you look at some of the smaller schools, before we get to the Big Ten schedule with Oregon, right, I think that's a decent comp, but it was so long ago. But you do look at it and you see they ran for 250-something against Montana State. They ran for over 300 yards against a terrible Oklahoma State team. Obviously, JMU better than those squads here. And that's the expectation. Like we talked to our buddy Jeff Schwartz about it, just the size in the trenches is why he gives a big advantage to the Ducks here. I jumped on the minus 20.5. It's very interesting, though, because that number is just at a stalemate. They are pushing back once you get past that three touchdown mark.
Yeah, and I wasn't somebody that was really in love with either of the dogs when these lines came out. I'm thinking, oh, these will be blowouts. But then you see all the bet counts, and we do the room on Fridays, which we won't be able to do tomorrow on Bet Sweats. But of the four sides, of the four favorites, I guess, Oklahoma, Oregon, Ole Miss, A&M. The one that I would pick, if you said which one's going to be in the room, no doubt, my answer would be Oregon. And I think there's a very good chance Oregon might be the number one bet on the entire board all weekend for college football. Doesn't mean they can't win. It's just been very interesting that we haven't seen that tick up to 22 or 23. I remember one guy say, oh, this will get to 24. It's 21. It's 21 and 20.5. So just be careful with the Oregon stuff. If you're going to lay it, though, do what Joe did. Get the 20.5. Because if you get a 42-21 or a 28-7 final, you're going to win laying 20.5, not 21.
Yeah, you wonder, is Oregon looking past them a little bit? I don't think they've earned that right. You look at what happened in the first round last year in the playoffs when they're getting smoked by Ohio State. They have not earned that right at this point. So we shall see. I'm suddenly very interested in the result of this game. Which one is next in the rotation order? Because I know it's all messed up this week between the NFL and college with the rotation order and moving games around as far as the time to fit TV schedules.
Let's go to Tulane and Ole Miss. Get you a number here. 17 or 17.5. The total, 56.5 to 57. It's 293 and 294. I gave Tulane plus 17.5 on Bear Bets. I don't even know that I love that, but it's more of a short on Ole Miss's defense, which is certainly a problem. And I get John Sumrall bought in, still there, coaching the boys against whatever we're going to get from the Ole Miss coaching staff.
Yeah, I'm more concerned about that Tulane defense, though, to be quite honest.
I get it.
I don't think there's an easy way to quantify everything that has happened with Ole Miss. Like, how do you do it? What is it worth? How's the preparation? Are they completely focused? A coach leaves, but then, okay, this offensive mind can come back to try and save your playoff run with Weiss. I don't know. And then you look at the rematch factor. We saw this game in the season, but it was all the way back on September 20th. So what does that matter? It's a 35-point win for Ole Miss. They had 548 total yards. Chambliss goes off. So how do we get here? I understand the concern about the Ole Miss defense. I think that's going to be more of an issue when we get to the second round, the quarterfinals. Not this game, but quite honestly, I don't have a play here. I don't have anything on this game, and maybe there's something for the live betters, but I've got nothing going in blind. And we'll take a look. I think it is kind of interesting, though, Sam, that this is not moving. We've been 17.5 for like weeks at this point. Not much movement on the total either. This might be the least bet of the 4 games.
That's a good call. We had Michael Felder on Bet Sweats earlier this week, and he was throwing out Tulane money line, which I respect. And let me also cushion that comment with the fact that Michael Felder is not a gotcha or a hot take guy. Like, he doesn't just say ridiculous stuff. When he says Tulane can beat Ole Miss, he believes that. So we'll see. I did give Tulane on Bear Bets. I don't know that I'm going to give Tulane in the tip sheet. Time will tell. I have to put that out later on tonight into Friday morning before a nice drive to Buffalo on a beautiful snowy western trip home to Chicago. Last game, let's do Miami and A&M. And then I kind of wanted to get your pulse on the exactas, team over team, team A over team B in the title. So we've seen a little bit of buyback on A&M the last 24 hours or so. But remember, when the bracket came out, I was on the air on Sunday. They were putting all the teams in the tournament. Miami's in, Notre Dame's out. First number we saw, DraftKings had Miami 5.5-point dogs. And Thursday morning, Wednesday night, this was 3 at a bunch of places. A&M -3. Now we see a little bit of a lift off the 3. 3.5 here at Chris, 3.5 MGM, DraftKings, FanDuel. A lot of 3, but a lot of 3.5 as well. Miami's that team that, I mean, depending on how you feel about Miami, should they be in, should they not? I don't know. They're in. A lot of people say they don't deserve it, but aren't these always the dangerous teams? The ones that maybe shouldn't be in, or the ones that were lucky to get in? Aren't these the teams that can go on runs?
And they have the talent, especially in the trenches. Could they go on a run? Yeah, we've seen this team go on runs. The first half of the year, they had those couple poor losses in the middle, and quietly they've gone on a run over their last 4 games, averaging 38 points per game, reminding us of what they can be. And it's something we talked about throughout the week with all the noise going on with Notre Dame versus Miami. None of that matters at this point. And what was completely overlooked, yes, Miami kept jumping, but they did deserve that. They were manhandling the ACC opponents that they played in the final stretch as they were trying to make their way into the postseason. So you've got to keep that in mind. They were playing like Carson Beck was playing at the start of the season when he was one of the top favorites for the Heisman Trophy. Let's not forget that either. Some people have completely written off Miami for either the struggles in the middle of the season or the name of the head coach. And he's going to have another opportunity to prove all those people wrong with Cristobal. I find a couple of things interesting with this matchup. I agree with the move on the total. That makes sense. Am I going to go in on under now that we're at 48.5, when earlier this week it was sitting 51.5? That's a tough deal. But I agree with that move. That certainly makes a lot of sense to me. It's probably going to be decided in the trenches and the quarterback play. Who do you trust? Carson Beck or Reed with more mobility? I think it's going to be a really interesting matchup. Sam, I don't know about you, but that's where I'm going to be focused, the trenches, because that's where this one's probably going to be decided.
I bet some Miami +4.5. I was on the air. Like I said, I couldn't get 5.5. I got some 4.5. At 3, I lean to Miami. To be honest with you, though, at 3, it feels like it's either a Miami money line bet or you lay the 3 with A&M. I would like to remove the juice if possible. Like, I'm not going to advocate for an A&M money line play. Just lay the 3. If you like Miami, sure, you could take 3, but in college, I think it's a better move. If you like the dog, 3, 2, 1 on the plus side, just take the money line. So that's sort of where I'm at. Again, bet Miami at 4.5. Don't feel great about it at 3. I was very happy to get the 4.5, not the pass post on our first show, but
Sure.
I think the O line for Miami is the key to the game. If they can give you an A effort, they're going to win.
Plenty of 3.5s out there at a lot of the domestic sports books. I know a lot of listeners here might not be able to get down there at those books, but there are plenty of 3.5s available. Look, I mean, it's interesting because a lot of people are going to take a look at it and see SEC versus ACC, but you also have to keep in mind that, yes, they are an SEC team in the Aggies, but they missed all these playoff teams. They missed Georgia. They missed Bama, Oklahoma, Ole Miss. They didn't play any of them. I'm not sitting here trying to say that they had a soft schedule because it was still regarded as top 10 tough. But there's a lot of teams in the SEC that had tougher schedules, so maybe a little bit of luck there. I would take the 3.5. I don't have a problem there. Agree with the move on the under. I think this is going to be lower scoring than many people expect. All right, let's give some background on the exacta situation. We want to talk about this so much because we nailed it last year. It was very different because you had some lower seeds that had the opportunity to go deep in the tournament, and they did. What was it, a 7 and an 8? Notre Dame was the 7 because they were in that 7-10 matchup against Indiana that I was at, which was an awesome experience. And then you had Ohio State, much lower than they should have been. So you had the 7 and the 8 in the title game, and we said the play is Ohio State over Notre Dame at 20-1. So, of course, we start to dissect what we think can happen with the way this bracket lays out.
We didn't bet it last year. We talked about it.
You had to bring that up.
Did not bet it. Well, if anything, as we've proven, we are honest. We have plenty of people that listen that bet 25-1 Ohio State over Notre Dame. We had Notre Dame heavy to win the whole thing. I had them for 2 dimes to win 20,000. And they got all the way there, and they scored the first touchdown of the championship, the drive that knocked Riley Leonard out of the game. He came off the field. I'm like, oh, no, they're in trouble.
Remember how much he ran? Yeah, his legs was everything on that offense.
Wasn't it a 15 or 17 play drive where he just got hit in the ribs and the head? He scored the touchdown. I was going nuts. And then I looked up, and he's in the he's thrown up on the sideline. I'm like, this is not good.
It's over.
We did not bet Ohio State over Notre Dame, though, after talking about it for a whole week. I did find it interesting going into this year. We're not on the same page, but we're on the same path. Yeah. We both looked to the bottom and wanted either Ohio State or Georgia. I sided with Georgia because of Kirby Smart and Gunnar Stockton. I trust those two more than I trust Ryan Day and Julian Sayin. I'm sorry to say that, but that's how I feel, even though Ohio State's defense is unbelievable. I think Ohio State would be a great game to go to the title game. So we both have Georgia. And then I think the winner of Texas Tech and Oregon is going to go to the title. I'm on the Tech side. You're on the Duck side.
Yeah, it's funny because we're looking at that same path here. We're knocking out the 1 and the 2. No, I don't think it's too much looking for some value. This is how we honestly feel about these matchups. And Georgia has a bit of an easier path just because Ole Miss, while a very talented team, an excellent offense, you brought up the defensive issues when talking about Saturday's game. So I think that does them in the end. And I lean Texas Tech, but I'm a little torn on this game. I could absolutely see Oregon taking down Texas Tech in that second round. So I would split it. And as far as a matchup, go both ways, where it's Texas Tech or it's Oregon. If that's the matchup, what's it going to be? 1, 1.5? Basically a coin flip scenario in Texas Tech's favor. So I think that would be an excellent matchup as well, just like Ole Miss and Georgia. But yeah, I'm looking at Georgia on that side. And then on the Oppo side, Texas Tech, Oregon. I do find it funny that we're knocking out the 1 and the 2, and we're looking at the 3 and the 4. So I guess the changes, the adjustments that the committee made is closer to being right, because the 3-4 that got buys last year were complete trash, and we were throwing them out immediately.
Boise State and
Arizona State.
That's right, Arizona State, who realistically should have beat Texas. I had Texas money line in that game and felt lucky as all hell to come out of there with a win.
The game was awesome.
That was the Ewers touchdown on 4th and 12. He threw a bomb to the end zone. I was watching the game at Miller's Pub. That was the day I had ribs for lunch and lasagna for dinner. When I stepped on the scale and it just said FH, which stands for, you know what it stands for. If you're looking for these bets, by the way, you can only make them right now. I'm sharing video again on YouTube. FanDuel's the only book that I saw dealing the exacta.
So 365 had it.
Okay. I don't have 365 out here, but I'll take your word for it. So you go to the national championship tab and then scroll down to this section right here, FBS championship exacta, and you can take Ohio State to beat Indiana plus 490 and then go down the board. I'm living in that 20-1 range. That was where my wager was. Where is it? Tech over Georgia. Bang. 20-1. Now, to Joe's point, if you want to play them both, because they don't have the exacta box, they have the exacta, which is the exact result, not the two. You can then play Georgia to beat Texas Tech at 17-1 and essentially get a price of 18.5-1 if you bet them both.
What's Georgia over Oregon?
Georgia, Oregon is 17-1.
Okay. Yeah, and these different books do it different ways. You can name the finalists where you don't have to have the result of that championship game too. So if you like a particular team and you're like, hey man, I don't really like this number that they're dealing right now. Georgia's only 6-1. Well, there are other ways to attack it where maybe you can find some better odds there.
I was really hoping one of these books would put up the most outstanding player or MVP. I don't know what they call it in college football. There's another bet right there that I like the field on. Ohio State, Indiana against the field. The field is minus 120 there. So that's sort of what I look at there. But I was hoping to get a bet on this player to be the MVP, and I would bet Baron Morton, Texas Tech quarterback. But I haven't seen anybody put that up yet.
And Stockton would be a look too, since we like Georgia.
Of course. Yeah. So that's where I'm at. I'm putting Georgia in on the bottom, and on top, I truly believe it's the winner of Tech and Oregon.
If you're not watching the video version of this show over on YouTube, what the hell is wrong with you? Check it out. Bet Chicken Dinner. Please subscribe. Same account over on Instagram. But if you are listening via the podcast, and we know we have so many podcast listeners, make sure that you are following the show on X at chickenxdinner. Sam is at SB Shoot. I'm at Joe Ostrowski. But YouTube, Apple, Spotify, I really want to see those ratings pass up what we had on the old show. That would be nice if we get people to switch over. We saw a number of people deleting their old reviews and then changing it to 1 star and then coming on over to the chicken dinner side. So I'm curious where we land there. Do we have any idea when our next show is going to be before we jump to the NFL?
I was thinking about maybe doing a show next Monday if we can find time. As we've talked about, I think a good plan for us when we get into our groove is to do a show that drops Tuesday morning and Friday morning. Now that's going to be a little bit sporadic during the holiday season. I mean, Joe and I have had to work 6 days a week since August. We're not going to be churning butter when we're with our families and friends and all that. But I think there's a very real way where we can do a show. We could tape it on the 22nd and drop it on Tuesday, the 23rd. And then also do a show on the 29th, drop it on the 30th. So we can do the next 2 Tuesdays, potentially. I mean, we can offline this, but my Mondays are pretty open the next 2 Mondays.
It's a little messy right now over the next couple of weeks because Wednesday, Thursday, Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's Day. Right. So yeah, we'll try to, it doesn't mean we're going to be 2 days a week forever, but for right now, that seems to be about right. When a lot of podcasts are going away, they're just going to go on vacation, right? We're going to try to make sure as we try to build this thing, and hopefully you guys can help us, we can get some of that content out there. I was on in Buffalo, WGR, our friends show up in the Bulldog earlier today. I still don't understand how you plan on doing everything that you plan on doing over the next 48 hours.
Oh, it's very easy. Well, you know that I'm not a normal person. So
That's what I was trying to explain to them.
I have no issue getting up Friday morning, getting in the car at 7, driving straight through to Buffalo. It's 7 hours.
Okay.
And if you stop for a quick bite and a bathroom break, that's half an hour. Maybe there's some traffic. So let's round up to 8 hours. So if I leave at 7 Eastern, arrival in Buffalo is 3 Eastern. And then check into the hotel, chill out, take a nap, go out with the boys afterward. And then, I mean, I'm a spring chicken compared to them. So, I mean, how late are they going to be out?
My God.
You know what I mean? Come on. We're being honest, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Bulldog mentioned that he was first on the air. He got hired in 95. And I was like, ooh.
Bulldog can put him down, though. He's a whiskey guy. He drinks his thick beers.
Sure.
I've, what's the term? I've handicapped the situation. And I figure if I'm in bed by midnight, I will be more than fine to get back in the car Saturday, because the Bears game is on Saturday, right?
Yes.
Get in the car Saturday and complete the drive, which is another 7-8 hours. But you also get the hour back. So
True.
Leave at 6, 8 hours would be 12-2 Eastern, 1 Central. I could get to the tailgate by 2. Why not? And then get tanked at the tailgate.
Yeah, you won't be able to feel your legs because of the drive. Okay.
But I like that. I
2
like
o'clock.
that. Have you seen the study where gamblers are able to get through a lot that most people couldn't? That's how I feel. Oh, you haven't seen this study? Where a gambler can navigate a lot of shit in life.
Well, we're going to find out with Sammy P. I know you'll keep everybody updated. All right,
What a game, though, man. I mean, how do you not start Bears-Packers?
No, we got to start Bears-Packers. And we told the people on the old show earlier this week, we're like, watch out. We know. We hear the complaints. We understand the complaints. Why are the Packers favored in this game? Now you've got all these injuries piling up. Why are the Packers favored in this game? Just be patient. We got here. A lot of respected books not making the Packers the favorite in this game. It went to a pick 'em out in Vegas, and there were some domestics that decided, you know what, we got so much Bears money coming in. Let's just make the Bears the favorite. They're going to bet their team anyways. Bears-Packers, we saw this game a couple of weeks ago. It came down to the last possession of the game. An interception, a rare interception from Caleb Williams, happens in the end zone to close it out, and now you have no Parsons. Now, we don't know about the right tackle, Zach Tom. We don't know about wide receiver Christian Watson. There's no doubt Green Bay Packers are down in the dumps, even though they're 9-4-1 on the season. They're down in the dumps because of the cluster injuries on their team.
I didn't personally love the Bears injury report, though, either today.
Yeah, fair.
And to see Odunze out, Burden out, bad enough that they ruled him out on a Thursday. I guess it's not really that advanced because they do play Saturday. Technically, you could rule guys out Friday when the game is on Sunday. So I guess chronologically it makes sense. But I did a hit on Channel 7 with Deion Miller. I do overtime every week, and we taped it right before they met the media at Hallis Hall. She was in one of the media boxes at Hallis Hall. We're doing a TV hit. And I said, look, I know this could change today or tomorrow, but I need Rome Odunze to play because I'm sitting on that over ticket, 850.5 yards over. I mean, you couldn't have handicapped it any better. He was at 600 with 5 games to go. And in the last 2, he's got 61. He's 661, and now he's not going to play. So he's got to get me 190 yards or so in the final 2 games combined. And I don't love that. You're watching on YouTube. You can see the screen here. A lot of these picks in Vegas, Circa, Superbook, South Point, those were all Bears -1 before the news came out. Not only is Luther Burden out, not only is Rome Odunze out, but DeAndre Swift and Colston Loveland are both questionable. That's not good.
Yeah, it's also not good on the Green Bay side, though. I don't think things are evening out. It is worse on the Packers side. It's Love and then everybody else. You still have to think about Kraft. Like his biggest weapons on offense are just not there. And it's every level of this team. Best pass rusher out. One of their top offensive linemen out. Their deep threat offensively out. It's
Jacobs is hurt.
brutal. It's
He's
brutal.
hurt.
They lose their safety last week, Evan Williams, too. That kind of flies under the radar due to all the injuries. What kind of a pass rush does this team have, this Packers team have, without the presence of Parsons? They've been complaining, well, every team's holding them. Every team's holding them. Yeah, some of that's true. So now what does it look like when you don't have to double team that guy all day? And don't forget that this is the Bears offensive line regarded as a top 5 unit in this league. We said it at the time on the show. When the Bears hung with them in Lambeau and they lose at the very end, where we're wondering if they get into the end zone, is Ben Johnson going to go for 2 and he's going to go for the win? I think everybody felt that he was. The Bears have some stuff saved up for them. They're still going to have that offensive game, strong offensive, that run game, strong offensive line, and that's how they're going to attack them. And you don't have Parsons. I expect the Bears to win. I said it 2 weeks ago, and now the injuries have, I say, gone in their favor. I know you have concerns, but they've found different receivers to get it done. Like all of a sudden, after being a complete no-show in that Packer game, DJ Moore goes off for 2 touchdowns last week. We're going to see it out of him. I like the Bears money line.
I think I'm more under. I mean, if you're going to tell me that you don't have a Dunze and Burden and maybe no Loveland and Swift, on the other side, Watson's out, Kraft has been out, Jacobs is banged up, probably going to give it a go, but not 100%. I also think the Bears sort of learned their lesson last time. Stop blitzing Love. Maybe don't do that. The last meeting kind of crawled over. It landed over, but it was an under game, if that makes sense. Like it felt like it was always going to be an under game, and then you had some explosions in there, some big plays. But if you remove all those weapons, I lean under. 46.5 at a bunch of places, 47 at South Point, 47 at Chris. If you're going to get me to 47 all over, I would consider an under 47 bet Saturday night.
Let's go to the other Saturday game. Philadelphia in Washington. The 6.5s became 7s. Eagles laying 7 on the road in the division. There are many that want to believe that all is right with the world with the Eagles because they won 31-0. The problem is they face the biggest dumpster fire in the NFL, the Las Vegas Raiders. Hurts goes from a 5-turnover performance on a Monday night to throwing for 3 touchdowns. Everything's good, right? I would hold off on that a little bit, Sammy. I want to see it against a better team. The Commanders are a little bit better. Not a lot better, but a little bit better. In this role, Dan Quinn's been good. Home dog, you're getting 7 in the division. I think they're going to be all right, and they're going to be competitive in this game. Now, it's not Jaden Daniels. They made the announcement earlier on in the week that it's going to be Mariota the rest of the way. While having slow starts, Mariota filling in for Daniels this year, he's been just fine. The problem has been that Commanders defense. But getting 7, I'm going to take 7. I'm going to take the home underdog here.
I just keep having this internal dialogue with myself. Should I bet Philly at 6-1 or so to win the NFC? Now, I'm taking a different spin. I know you're laying out some of the issues they've had, and there are some issues, but they are getting healthier on the O-line and D-line. That's a must for them to make a run. They end the season after this game. It's at Buffalo and then home against Washington. So you win last week. You're going to win Saturday, right? Ideally, maybe not cover, but you should win. You should beat Marcus Mariota, no matter where the game is. Even if it's in Hawaii, you should win that game. And then you split with Buffalo and Washington. So you finish 3-1. You maybe fix some of those issues. You find a little bit of rhythm. And then, Joe, you're going to be the 3 seed in the playoffs. You just are. Because the 4 is not going to catch Philly, I don't think. And Dallas isn't catching Philly. So as long as the Eagles don't go 1-2 or 0-3, they're going to have a home playoff game, and they can go to LA, they can go to Green Bay, they can go to Chicago and win. You know, the Rams are plus 170, plus 180, and the Eagles are almost 6-1. I know it might not be popular, but if there was a time to buy on the Eagles, this would be it.
Do you think they kind of ease off the gas pedal a little bit in the last couple of weeks? They're going to win the division. It's going to be discussed. Well, the first time since 2004, back-to-back division winners in the NFC East. They have an opportunity here to let Saquon rest in the final few weeks of the regular season, but you also don't want to create that rust. Are you thinking, okay, they're going to go for it here. Let's lock up the division and then take it easy the last couple weeks?
No, I think they have a lot to prove to themselves. I think there's a lot of trust issues there that have to be ironed out. I think these guys need to have a couple of big wins here. So I'll give you the cover here. Maybe backdoor Charlie. Eagles win by 4 or something like that. But I think they could rip off 3 of 4 heading into the playoffs, and then people got to come to Philly, and then from there you take your chances, as they do have that championship pedigree. I wanted to get to just 2 other games quickly here because I know we want to wrap up with some merch and some best bets. The Ravens-Patriots game, I'm going to lay it with Baltimore. It's 3 even. I can lay 3, plus 100. This is just the way I feel about the game. I think when you have a 24-7 lead like New England did and you blow that game, the next game is even tougher somehow. And I don't have any data to back that up. I don't have an Evan Abrams or John Ewing stat. I know from gambling on this stuff for 20 years now, when you have a team like Buffalo on the ropes, you can taste the division champagne, all that, and you let them rally back and win, it's deflating. And now, you're starting to have a conversation. Well, is New England this good? Maybe a little bit of doubt creeps in. I like the Ravens here, and the move came on Baltimore for sure. -1, -2 to 3 now. So I like the Ravens, and I'll probably take a piece of the Steelers. I have that one marked here on my screen. I would take 7 with Pittsburgh against Detroit.
Okay. Now, on that Baltimore one, my first reaction was I was leaning New England, and then the more and more I looked at this matchup, and Evan Abrams did put out some really good stuff there, to be quite honest, and it was about this Ravens defense. In the beginning of the year, they were getting absolutely shredded, and while everyone is focusing on Lamar Jackson, what he's doing, and they looked pretty good last week, but it was against the worst defense in football, the Cincinnati Bengals. But if you take a dive into what this Ravens defense has done since week 6, they're a top 5 defense. EPA per play, success rate, rush EPA, they're number 1 in the NFL. So this defense has completely flipped. While many are not talking about it and they're just solely focused on the offense, them laying a short number at home against a team coming off a deflating loss, I totally get it. And it sounds to me like there's a lot of sharp money on that Baltimore side. I'm not betting it, but I understand your play there. And tell me about Pittsburgh +7. Lions, they're trying to make their way into the playoff. They've done very well over the years with Campbell and Goff coming off a loss. Why are you taking Pittsburgh on a short week +7?
Because Vegas Rick told me to.
Okay.
Is that good enough?
That's good enough. It's certainly fair.
Can I give you the list? Let me give you the games that they played.
Please.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, they usually play 3 or 4 NFL games a week. And I got to pull up the text here. They did Baltimore. Money line, though. I think they laid like $1.30, which is now long gone. They played 6.5 on Pitt. So they didn't get 7. They were ready to bounce on 6.5. They laid 9.5 with Buffalo and the Rams on Thursday night, which unfortunately you will not be able to bet because this show will not be up yet. But those are the 4 they played in Vegas. Baltimore money line, Pitt plus the points, Bills -9.5, and then the Rams pick them.
All right. I've got 2 that I want to throw your way, get a quick reaction out of you. This Carolina Panthers team, they are difficult to figure out week to week. Panthers, Bucks twice in the last 3 weeks. It's Tampa Bay on the road laying 3. I don't understand why they're still getting so much respect. I've been talking about this for a good month or so. This Tampa Bay offense and defense, the whole package, has not been working. You can focus on the offense, and yes, Baker Mayfield and company has regressed, part of it due to injuries, but the real problem has been on this defense. We saw what happened last Thursday against Atlanta. They let Kirk Cousins, The 2025 Cousins throw for 373 yards. They're up by 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, and they can't hold on to win that game. I have no belief in the Bucs. This team should not be laying a full field goal on the road in the division. And remember, the Carolina Panthers do play better at home. That's when their defense really tends to ball out. Offensively, tough to predict. They're not the most disciplined team in the world. They had 11 penalties last week, but off losses, they've performed. And in that dog roll, that's when you want them. You do not want to take the Panthers ever as a favorite. But as an underdog at home, I'm all right doing that. I'm going to take Carolina +3. And you know what? I'm just going to do it. It's probably going to be the wrong time. It's a team you love. It's a coach you love. I guess the Cowboys defense is bad again. Like, they fooled us for a couple weeks after making some deals. Like, okay, maybe they're better. I see they're getting desperate. They told Eberflus that you've got to go up in the booth now and call games. Like, that's going to change things.
That'll fix it.
Matt Eberflus's defense, give me a break. But we've got the Chargers as a dog against a poor defense. I see 2.5 still available, Sam. That's a strong tease. Getting that to +8.5. Cowboys look terrible. Their season is shot. We'll see if it happens again. But Herbert against that Cowboys defense, I'm going to trust him. I'm going to trust Harbaugh. I'm going to take the Chargers +2.5.
Which one do you like more, Carolina or the Chargers?
Carolina.
I'm going to tease the Bears. Here's what I'm going to do. Bears +7.5 and the Panthers +9. That's going to get my money.
That's pretty strong. There are some good teaser options. A lot of these prices this week, these point spreads, some short dogs at home. I don't think that's the worst look in the world, even though the Chargers are on the road. Any other NFL game worth discussing, or are we good there?
Charch brought up something on our show today. I want to give him full credit, Paul Charchian, who's an awesome fantasy and prop guy. He brought up Chris Olave, and he used the term ladders. So a lot of injuries for the Saints receivers, and that Charch believes is going to open up Olave over on yards, over on catches, maybe some ladders involved. And he brought up an anytime touchdown +170. I thought that was very interesting because he went out of his way to find a guy like Chris Olave. I mean, he's not telling you to take CeeDee Lamb or Jamar Chase, right? Like, Olave's been a very polarizing guy. When he said Chris Olave, I wrote it down and I circled it. So I just wanted to pass that along. But that's it. I mean, anybody who's watched Bet Sweats or followed me anywhere else, I didn't put the red mic flag on and wear the blue shirt. I need the Bills to make a run so bad. I have 5 different bets from 7-1 to 12-1. The math is good if Buffalo wins the Super Bowl, which, I mean, what could go wrong there, of course. But that's my biggest thing right now in the NFL. I need Buffalo to win out and win some playoff games.
If you're still alive in a survivor, a revival one that I'm alive in, and I'm bringing this up because it's $500,000. It's probably going to be split between way too many people, but still, even split with a number of people, it's a good chunk of change. I have both Houston and Buffalo available. Houston will be more popular because they're bigger favorite, 14.5. Bills are favored by 10.5. I know they're both going to win, or both should win. Which one would you go with?
Buffalo.
Less owned, too. Buffalo at Cleveland.
Shador going to beat Buffalo?
They were so bad against the Bears, and that's not even a good defense.
Yeah, it's an organizational thing. It's not just a quarterback thing. It's a mess there. The issue is, Houston's at home laying 14 to a dead team. I just trust Buffalo a little bit more. Now that Houston's getting into that contender realm and sleeper realm, they could go to the Super Bowl. Like, I'm always a little cognizant of that team, but I'm also biased on Buffalo.
All right. Tell me about the merch situation, because I'm so happy, first off, that you kept Chicken Dinner going. We were forced to go our separate ways after a year of doing this Chicken Dinner show in 2017. Thankfully, you kept it going. So it's sitting here waiting for us in 2025. And you've been doing weekly episodes, but we're really going to amp things up, as we've talked about, via podcast and, more importantly, video. And it's funny that that's what we're stressing, and we understand that that's very important because even though, I don't know, maybe I'm at the higher end of the demo, I do find myself on a daily basis where I would go other places for content in the past. I'm finding myself going to YouTube, and then I'll end up sitting there, and that's in the background with various YouTube content going.
The merch crapped out in mid-September. We used Teespring when we started the show in
I remember.
2016.
Yeah.
And Teespring was very good for many years. They changed ownership, which changed factories and changed production. And there were people that were not getting their orders for months. So then I shipped an order. I ordered 4 or 5 hoodies. I didn't get them. Never got them. So I did some digging, and there were some big complaints with Teespring. And I had to pull the store down. And luckily, a lot of the people were able to get refunds and get their money back. But I didn't. I mean, you know how busy we've been. And I have to go to New York once a week. I spend 23 hours or 24 hours in New York once a week during football. I'm on trains with no Wi-Fi. You and I are doing 15 hours of radio. You're doing 18, actually. I'm doing 17 on the weekends. I didn't have the time, and I wasn't making time for designing shirts and hoodies and mugs and all that. Luckily, got some time here next week to spend half a day on the new merch, which I do have a store signed up. The service is the wrong word. The outlet or the store is Printful, which is a 4.9 star internet merch place. So the designs have gone nowhere. I'm going to have more designs. I'm going to meet with Patrick, our designer. We're going to get some Moon shirts.
Yes.
Some Corby shirts. There's endless stuff we can do with the merch. So we should have that up and ready by next week. That's my goal. The number one seller for years has been the white chicken silhouette on the hoodie, right on the chest.
Yes.
Whether you got a black or red or blue or purple or green, that's been a hot one. The mugs always go. And then, of course, the Fade the Bartender merch has been very, very hot with the spilled shot glass and all that. So people have been asking. I've tried to, counter with please be patient. There's a million things going on right now. Mm-hmm. But my goal is to have all the Chicken Dinner merch back online by early next week.
Okay, good deal. I saw some of the responses asking about that, so I'm glad we're able to provide some clarity. I've got to get some merch because the last time I know there was a hoodie, it was way too big, or the sleeves were too big. I ended up getting rid of that. And then I have a t-shirt. I'm guessing that t-shirt from 8-9 years ago doesn't fit right now. Damn. Not around the holidays. It's not going to fit around the holidays.
Oh, we're going to gain so much weight in the next 2 weeks. I can't wait. Yeah. I can't wait to not feel good about how I look in the mirror because I've been working hard, man. I've been working hard the last 8 months or so. Why don't we do best bets and get out of here? You go first. What do you like? What do you love?
All right, best bets. We went over a lot of these games, but college, let's go Oklahoma. If you want to lay that one, I'm fine with that. That's my best bet there. NFL, Bears money line, and let's go Carolina Panthers +3 against Tampa Bay. How about you?
I'm going to do Oklahoma as well. Already did it, but might as well give it back out at -1. I'm going to do Tulane +17.5. Why not? Right. I think it's a good bet. I think they're going to hang inside the number. I'm a big Sumrall guy. You give me Sumrall with a month against whatever we're going to get from Ole Miss, on top of the fact that I hate the Ole Miss defense, I'll do Tulane. That's the afternoon game on Saturday, +17.5. And then NFL, Ravens -3, even money. That's my favorite look. So let me hit you with Oklahoma, Tulane, and the Baltimore Ravens.
Wasn't it nice not having that delay?
Yes.
And being able to hear yourself. Yeah, the show's going to be better. Just give us some time to figure things out. We're thinking the next episode, Monday, Tuesday. So we will have a pre-Christmas episode of Chicken Dinner out. I ask you this, not only to give us ratings, reviews. If you're watching via YouTube, hit the like button. If not, go to the YouTube page and press play, hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed and drop it in your favorite group chat. a link to this show so we can try and grow this thing together. Because like we told you off the hop, it ain't happening without you guys. So Sam, let's do this again on Monday or Tuesday. All right.
Time flies when you're having fun.